Welcome to That's What We Think with Connie and Steve. Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Connie. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, pretty good. Um, I think we've mentioned to our listeners that usually before we start recording, we always have a moment where we talk. It kind of feels like a little bit of a warm up before we
Yes.
launch into the recording. And
Sometimes we have to stop each other from talking because we're like, wait, that's
wait,
too
wait,
good.
but I mean, and it's not to take away from our own podcast and what we do and share with everyone. But we've had some of our most closest and, dare I say, heartfelt moments when we haven't been recording, but our pre-recording stuff before we
Mhm.
start. And I will be perfectly frank, it's parts that I love the most because it's just essentially just us. We just get our time before we do
Yeah,
our
before we
our
get to
sharing.
share with you
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. So today, I was just talking about my deceased partner, and um, now I'm thinking about the word sorry and how sorry we are at the loss of friends or at the loss of partners, at the loss of family and parents. Connie's lost her father. And apologies just come in so many different forms, but it's hard. It is a very difficult word for a lot of people because the intent behind the word is so powerful. It's a
Right.
powerful thing.
Well, it's admitting you've been wrong about something.
Or admitting that you want to say sorry about something that's happened, but how you say it is also it's so many
Right.
things, right?
Yeah.
And on a different note, we were singing, "It's hard for me to say I'm sorry." now get that out of your now get that out of
I
your
just
head.
want
It's
you to
you to know.
know.
That's such an 80s song. It's so high school dancing song.
Exactly.
But
Oh my God, I can remember that. Those
totally.
dances were so good. We got to
But
do a podcast about dances.
oh yeah. But that wasn't my favorite sorry song. I think my favorite sorry song is Elton John's uh oh god, now it's in my head because it's Chicago. What was it? Sorry is the hardest sorry seems to be the hardest word. And I love the lyrics of that song because it really, really is. And we really want to talk a little bit more just about the power of apologies. And I went online and I just wanted just to basically find out what Psychology Today, just a little bit more specific uh, description of what apologies, why is it so hard to say it? And there's three things. One of them is offering an apology can feel like a threat to our sense of self. In the heat of the moment, we tend to underestimate how much better we will feel after apologizing. And the third one is even if there's a risk that it will be used against us, apology might still be the right thing to do. Those are the reasons why we should apologize, but it's still hard.
Right.
What do
And
you think?
I do believe in the feeling like you're going to lose something of yourself or admitting that you're wrong, especially if it's an argument or a disagreement or something when you're standing in your spot and you've dug yourself your feet in so hard into that spot trying to say, "Oh wait, I'm wrong and I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Takes a lot of effort.
It said here that, there are feelings of shame and inadequacy leading to a defensive response, which is aimed at preserving self worth.
Right.
And I totally believe that. Like, it's because you're saying, I did something, I said something, or some sort of action that has hurt or harmed you. And it's up to me now to step up and say, I'm sorry I did that and mean it.
Yeah, and fix it.
And take action to do what you have to
Yeah.
do. But it's amazing how often either it's not said or it is said and it's not really meant, or it is
Or
said
it's
and it
said
changes
in a
nothing.
completely condescending way.
Totally. Oh, I'm
Like,
sorry you
"I am
feel that way.
sorry you feel like I hurt you."
Yeah. That is that is a knife. That's a knife to the throat. It's that's where you just don't say anything at all.
Yeah. "I'm sorry you took it that way."
Which also brings up the whole point too, because this is interesting. Can you actually, so I'll ask you, if somebody says they're sorry, have you ever not forgiven someone?
Um,
Is that a tough one?
I don't know. I've forgiven, but I've never forgotten.
Forgotten.
Okay.
Yeah,
So then if it comes to the third time that they're now apologizing for pretty much similar things or whatever,
yeah,
it's like, okay, you can fool me once, shame on you. Fool me
yeah.
twice,
Shame on me.
shame on me.
What if it's the third time?
If it's the third time, I think it's just a shame.
Idiot. Yeah, yeah, that
You
was
know?
stupid.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
you can apologize, but your actions have to actually match
right,
that apology.
right.
And you have to show that you're not, I mean, I've forgiven people for things that they haven't even apologized for, because I
What do you
do
mean?
believe that some of those people didn't recognize.
Oh, so you've taken on if they said something, even though they haven't said it, you've said maybe they're sorry for saying
No,
it? Is that what you mean?
I've just forgiven them.
Okay,
Not that I've released them from that. It's releasing me from
right,
holding on to what they've done. I'm
right.
not releasing them from their actions. That, what they've done is what they've done. Um, but it's also saying, okay, I'm not going to live with this in my head, circling constantly. Just let it go.
Yeah,
Because there was a long time that, if somebody had wronged me or said something about me, it would be like
spiral?
this conversation that I would have with myself to them, but not to them. It would
Yeah,
be just this conversation in my head of back and forth of what I would say and how I
right.
would deal with it, and it would
Oh,
be continuous. And for whatever reason, it was every time I would clean my house, I would do this, and I was like, "Oh, this is like terrible energy that I'm putting into the house that I'm cleaning." So I had to really make this decision, this concerted effort to forgive them. And whoever wanted to believe what they were saying, that's on them. I know the truth. Whatever energy or higher power knows the truth, that's all that matters.
I
And kind of go from there.
I totally understand that. I think that it's like you just mentioned, even the fact about draining your energy. It
Mhm.
is.
Oh, yeah.
It's exhausting when you have those fights with yourself, and you had an issue with somebody, or and you're regurgitating the conversation in your head, and you're reviving, not reviving.
Reliving
You're
it.
reviving it, but you're also changing it so that this is what I really would have said as you're
Yes.
cutting vegetables up, and I really would, you're like chopping away at that board as the chopping gets harder and harder. Um, but it absolutely is a drain, and I know a great number of people do that. I do that too, some as well, thinking if only I had, or I wish I had said
Yes.
that, or stopped myself if I was in a position where I was the person that was the instigator, and I'm the one that needs to say sorry. And I know, first of all, I'm not perfect.
Mhm.
I know that. I have made a great number of mistakes in my 54 years on this planet. I look back on some of the things which I know you really shouldn't do because ultimately that doesn't help you because what's done is done.
Mhm.
But as I go over certain parts of my life and realize I could have done better there. I really could have done better there. I should have treated this person better. I should have done better here. I should have been there. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It hasn't, knowing that though, it didn't really make me feel better. It makes you feel worse. And when you're feeling that way, when you've got all those bottled up feelings of regret and sadness because you did stuff, it affects you. It's far past just a simple case of, I'm sorry. It starts to take over parts of your body, your mental health.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, I don't think people have done enough connections between trauma and sadness and all that stuff and what it can do to you physically.
I think,
And
Gabor Mate has
yeah, oh,
done,
he's fantastic.
yeah, quite a bit of stuff about, your
Oh, yes,
physical and your trauma
yes,
and how they're connected.
that's right.
Yeah.
But I mean, ultimately, it does start off with the simple words of, I'm sorry. But also, it's not just a question of saying I'm sorry to whomever. it's also saying I'm sorry to yourself and
Right.
meaning it. But that journey, Con, would you agree? Like that journey, it's one thing with people, but the journey for yourself is,
To forgive yourself?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
So
journey.
I have said it before, when we were talking about dreams,
Yes.
the Hawaiian prayer,
Yeah.
called Ho'oponopono.
Yeah.
That is an apology to yourself, right? That you're saying it's, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you."
Mhm.
Um, that is something that you say to yourself, and you repeat to yourself. It is forgiving the stuff within you.
Mhm.
That's the reason why you say that. You're saying it to your soul, so that
Yeah.
way you can heal those parts of you.
I remember I was in Indonesia, in Bali, and I had a chance to do a spiritual massage,
Mm,
which was interesting because I've never had done anything remotely. But the hotel offered that service, and I thought, well, why not? What the hell?
right.
And it was an old man. He was in his 70s, 80s, and he genuinely looked like a monk.
Mhm.
But I, at that point, was experiencing, because I was grieving at that point
Right.
as well, but I wasn't dealing with it in a way that was healthy
You're running away from it.
completely. Recognizing that now,
Mhm.
but running away from the feelings because it hurt too much. And so I was getting quite sore. What he did was he massaged parts of my body, and when he got to around my heart, he, like the chest area, he was massaging it and massaging it. And then at that point, I just kind of let go and I cried and let it all out. And he
Really?
goes, and he pointed to your heart and he said, that's where the pain is. That's where it stems from. You have to learn to forgive yourself. You've got to apologize to no one but yourself because you're
Right.
doing it to yourself.
Mhm.
And which made me cry more. Right?
Yes, of
But it
course.
stuck. It stuck. It stayed. But it's still difficult. It's
Mhm.
difficult. It's, again, like I said, it's one thing when you have to apologize to someone. It's quite another when you have to do it to yourself and forgive yourself for all the things that you should have or could have or would have done if you
Right.
had done it differently. I just think that with apologies um, to people that you've hurt and that you love, hearing the words "I forgive you" is important. But I asked you, what if you don't? What if you can't forgive? Does that make you a bad person? Like, does it? What do you think, Con?
Well, I think everybody has their timelines on when they can forgive somebody. I think it's important to forgive people because again, you're not releasing that person of the responsibility from their actions. You're releasing yourself from holding on to what they've done to you because it's almost like, they say it all the time that not forgiving somebody is like, because you are playing, usually you're playing it in your head over and over again, and it's drinking poison, expecting the other person to die,
Oh,
right?
that's yeah.
So you need to forgive for yourself,
Mhm.
but it takes time.
It takes time.
And everyone and every action has its own little time frame as well.
That's right.
And you know, if it means that you need to go to therapy or
Yes.
talk to somebody in order to help you get through that. And when I say therapy too, I don't always mean it has to be therapy. It can be going to your best friend and talking to them and just talking and letting them know, this is how you feel, and having that discussion back and forth because
Right.
sometimes your friends are the best therapist that you can
Yeah.
have, right?
They can provide a perspective that an extra perspective that's coming from a place where they know you.
Right.
Whereas with therapy, it's a stranger that is getting to know a more clinical aspect of your personality
Right.
patterns and of course some personal things, of course. Like it's not
Yeah.
all clinical. But when you're going to a friend to share, it's different, as you
Yeah.
said. Yeah. Yeah. But one
Yeah.
of the things that I saw here in regards to it is that, it's if apology isn't accepted, it's very important to respect the other person's feelings and allow them the space to process. And you can acknowledge their feelings, reiterate sincerity, but give them the time and space that they need in
Oh,
order to
absolutely. Yeah,
process it. And if you don't receive the answer you hope for, that's another part that you have to deal with as well, right?
yeah,
And it does happen.
yeah,
Um, but I also think it's hard for the person too that doesn't if you're not there yet. I
yeah.
do think. Do you think that you'll get there to that forgiveness part?
I think most people I think it's healthier to get there. If you're holding on to
Yeah,
grudges for everything that anybody, other people are doing to you or whatever, I don't think that's very healthy. I think it's gonna come out in some way, shape, or form.
yeah.
So I do think it's important to get to a point of acceptance and forgiveness. My question to you is, how has your apologizing or the way how has it evolved? Obviously from a younger perspective and to now, are you better at apologizing or has it gotten more difficult to apologize?
I think it's better now than it was when I was younger.
Mhm,
When I was younger, I wouldn't apologize for my behavior because I just didn't think anything of it.
mhm.
I was so removed from myself that I just la 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 la, off I go,
Yeah.
and off and let the dust settle as it may, but it didn't affect me because I was just moving on, moving forward. What changed was Rob's death.
Mhm.
Um, the before that and after is stark in regards
Really?
to,
In what
I
way?
think, yeah, I'll just say it. I was selfish, um, in my own brain and in my own way. It was it was difficult because I was dealing with my own personality and trying to come into myself as a gay male
Mhm,
and hiding it for so long and just struggling and just then falling in love with this amazing human being who seemed to have it all together. And I couldn't figure that out. I didn't feel like I was worthy of
mm,
this person who encompasses all these great qualities. So I was messy and didn't apologize for the fact that I was messy.
mhm,
And but had this person who was right there noticing it and knowing it and still loving me for the person deeply flawed that I was.
mhm.
So
So
when
he
I look,
recognized that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh completely, I recognize. And at the time, I relied on people to help me that weren't the right sources of help to make it easier to deal with uh, my issues and my
Right.
personality issues. When he passed, I realized the importance of forgiveness and being able to say sorry and mean it,
Mhm,
and not just giving it, but hearing it from other people, and realizing sometimes that even if you're sorry, it's your actions tell me otherwise,
yeah.
and seeing it, but still forgiving it because you ultimately want to look for the best. Because if I want
Right.
to work on myself, especially in that area, I kind of want you to come along with me, but you're not. And I think it's still a journey, Connie.
Yeah.
I still find
Of
it difficult.
course.
I still sometimes find it difficult to say sorry. With Jim and I, if we have a fight or an argument, and I know it's my fault, I do say it, but I'm also like, damn it, I wish I didn't have to.
That's ego, right?
It's totally, but I know it because
Yeah.
the one thing that if you're really noticing, if you hurt somebody, oh, it breaks my heart just even thinking about the looks when you do something and the look of it's not even heartbreak, it's disappointment.
Yeah.
And there is a big difference. And that look is killer.
Yeah.
And that's when you're like, oh, I am beyond sorry. Like
Yeah.
and you hope you never see that look from somebody. But
Yeah.
if you do, just know that you've crossed the line that will take time for that person to forgive you. And
Mhm.
all you can do is just say, I'm sorry, and work on and mean it and
Mhm.
work on it. And that's the difference now between before. Before I would have been like, ah, that's your problem. Off I go.
Yeah.
And now, no, I can't carry that. It's too hard.
Yeah. It's
What about
funny.
you?
My evolution of apologizing has been, because I didn't apologize when I was young. I'd be like, you know, and it wasn't something that I was taught either. It was,
Me too.
you just kind of moved on, right?
Yeah, you move
And you
on.
just picked up and you moved on, and we're like, okay, we'll just forget about that ever happened and moved on. So even with my kids, um, we would get into a disagreement, the older kids and myself, right? Emily was a teenager or whatever. I would get into a disagreement with her, an argument with her, and I would say something that out of anger
Yeah,
that would come out wrong, and I was wrong for it. And instead of apologizing or anything, I'd wait a bit and then go into the room and pretend like nothing happened. And because
yeah,
that's how I was raised, it was just,
yeah,
and it's not
yes.
saying that there was anything wrong with how I was raised. It was just my
That's how you
parents.
dealt with it.
Exactly. That's how people dealt with everything back then. You just kind of
Right.
forgot it, moved on.
Moved on. See, I said, yeah, same thing. Same
Yeah.
thing. Move on.
And now with the younger two, um, I don't know. I guess I've through therapy, through learning, through evolving, I now apologize,
Yeah,
if I've done something, or if I've said something the wrong way, or been a little bit more harsh in our disagreement or
yeah,
whatever. I apologize before, and I've actually also apologized to them. I remember this one, and because I'm not a perfect parent.
no one is,
Nobody
Connie.
is. We're all
Nobody
learning
is.
here, right? This is the first time I've been a parent to 4 kids. Who knows? I've never done it before.
Right.
So so I remember saying to Evelyn,
Yeah,
that I'm sorry if the unhealed version of myself has done any harm to them,
yeah,
because we're always healing and
yeah,
trying to grow and to become better, right?
absolutely.
um and I remember her saying, she was like, wow, that's awesome. Like, she was just like, because I was just,
That is awesome.
there's something,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we all have that. I would never blame my parents for how they raised me, because again, they were doing it for the first time too. You only know as much as you can, right? Nobody comes in with a manual to say, okay, when this happens, this is what
yeah,
you say and how you deal with it. And
yes.
you're winging it. So we can only wing it as well as our healed parts can wing it,
You're
right?
right. Absolutely. I think you mentioned even a key point. It starts somewhere. Let's
Yeah.
face it, we started as children and we relied on our parents for guidance as to
Yeah.
how we're supposed to behave and what we're supposed to do and everything else. If you weren't given the tools that you needed to get in order to deal with emotional outbursts and whatever it is that would cause hurt or grief to someone else,
Mhm.
then you don't, you have to learn it on your own.
Yeah.
Now, I absolutely agree now. Before, yes, when I was younger, I blamed, sure, I'd be upset with mom and dad for
Oh, of
this or
course.
that or the other. Only now, I'm recognizing that they did what they had to do.
Yeah.
And that's fine
They did as the best they could with what they
with
knew.
what they had. But I'm an adult and I have to start taking responsibility for my own actions because that's nothing to do with them. This
No.
is, and I will say, Con, I mean, when I look over now at the evolution of, of me, I was a really sensitive kid, um, very emotional, uh, cried a lot when I was very young. And hardened myself, uh, because I realized when you're sensitive, you're also there's there is a chance to be teased, bullied, and
Right.
potential. So you harden yourself and you change and you pivot. And honestly, it's like Stephen Pivot Wilson. That's what I did, was pivot so that I could avoid stuff.
Yeah.
But becoming harder means the apologies, even back then, if you said sorry, was built around that. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way,
Yeah.
and you know it, and you recognize it, and you see it now, particularly as you're older. And I die a little bit at that behavior because there
Yeah.
were people that I hurt, and I know that, and it's something you have to reconcile with later on, and realize that I did the best I could because this is what I knew. It's not making excuses. There are no
No.
excuses, none.
No.
And I mean that. I have no excuse for that other than, and this is what my therapist keeps mentioning. You did what you had. This is the tools you had, and
Mhm.
you had to do what you had to do based on that.
Right.
Obviously, there's room for growth and to learn, which we're doing as we get older, hopefully. But that's the way it was. And I do take full responsibility for any pain that I cause because I can feel it and I hate it. I hate causing
Yeah.
that. I hate it, Con.
Oh, I know.
Oh,
I
I
know.
just, and I carry it with me because I don't want anyone feeling bad, which is probably why I sometimes go overboard with being peppy and make you laugh, and
Yeah.
because I don't like people in pain.
No.
But, anyways, that,
But
and
I also see it as now, I see it as everyone comes into our lives for a reason, to teach us something about ourselves, to
yeah,
teach us something about the world around us,
yes,
whatever it might be.
yes,
So even if um, they hurt us or we hurt them, we're learning from it,
that's right,
right?
right.
So I take all of those past things and go, okay, what did I learn? How can I be better? And move forward. Because there's no
Yep,
point in looking back.
right. And I think, again, the concept of forgiving yourself for that as well,
Mhm.
apologizing to yourself and meaning it,
Yeah.
but it's still a journey. And I'm not there yet. I still have a lot
Oh,
of work to do.
I don't think any of us are ever there and ever. I think we
Ever.
get closer and closer, but we're never there.
Yeah, I suppose, right? And yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
It's that is
It
what life is about. It's about learning, right? It's about every day being a little bit better than we were yesterday. That's all we can do.
hopefully, right? Yeah.
Hopefully, that's the goal. Just be a little bit better than we were yesterday.
I'm almost 54. I say this a lot. And because I look back and realize how long I'm lucky that I'm here. And I am grateful
Mhm.
for that. Health issues aside, I'm still here. And I still have time. And but the people that have the ones that really helped foster that sort of change, like losing Rob but gaining Jim,
Mhm.
from a relationship perspective, has been utterly important in order to continue to grow
Of
because
course.
he Rob gave me the wings to move, and Jim is giving me even more of a push to become better,
Yeah,
the better person, that guidance. And I love it. I fall as you do,
we all do.
but I will also add, Con, is having my friends. Um, the ones that I thought I lost are coming back. The
Mhm.
ones that have been in my life, like you, are
Mhm.
here.
Mhm.
And that matters too, because that also means that, well, maybe you weren't as, maybe you were a dick, but they're forgiving you for whatever reason, and they've decided that maybe you aren't as bad as you think you are sometimes, and I even if I run into people, like, and I sometimes I remember things and I'm like, oh
Mhm.
shit, could have handled that better, and I hope they don't
Yeah,
remember it. but
yeah.
we're here.
Oh, exactly, exactly. Have you ever apologized just to end an argument?
Yes.
Really?
To stop it, yeah.
just stop the argument? You've apologized,
I'm
even if
like,
you're
sorry,
not,
sorry. Yeah,
if even though you're not in the wrong?
totally.
Really?
Yeah. Because if it's, because I don't want to fight,
Mm.
and I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Like from a relationship perspective, absolutely, I'll stop it
Mhm.
because and that's been my thing. I just want it to stop. I don't want it to go on and on. I just your point's made, and okay, that's it. Sorry, let's stop. And especially if I'm in the wrong with
Oh, no,
something.
no, no. I'm saying you're not in the wrong in this
Oh,
situation. Are you apologizing just to end the argument? If you're in the wrong, absolutely. If then
yes,
that's
yes, yes.
different.
I've done that. Yeah, absolutely. Where I've said, "Oh, okay, yes, I'm sorry. You're right. Leave it.
And move
Just
on.
and move on." Why are you looking at me like that?
I just it's not something that I believe I've
It's,
ever done.
I guess,
If
honestly,
I am not wrong, I'm not apologizing.
I do that at work with work stuff, and but relationships, I'm a little different in
Even
that.
in relationships, if I'm not wrong, I'm not
Oh,
apologizing.
wait a minute. If I'm not wrong, I'm not gonna s
Yes.
"Oh, no, no, no,
Just
no.
to
Oh,
end the
sorry."
argument?
No, no, if I'm not
No.
wrong, which is very rare, I will say, if
Maybe that's
if
why you thought it was a yes.
exactly, if I'm right about something, I don't but I also if I'm right about something, I don't I don't let make it a big deal of I really am very maybe Jim might say something differently. I think I'm just, "Okay, okay," and then that's it. You know, he'll apologize, and I'll be like, "Okay."
Mhm.
Like, I don't, because I know it's coming from a place I don't have to question. It's like, "Okay,
Yeah.
it's done. La, 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 let's move on." And I
Mhm.
mean it, because I don't wanna hold on to it, and I just want do you hold on to it?
Oh, no, no, I don't hold
Oh,
on
okay.
to it. It's just I'm not gonna apologize for something
No.
I'm not
Fair enough. That's yeah, I'm sorry, I got that wrong.
wrong about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna
And
no.
I'm not gonna just say sorry to end the argument or disagreement or whatever. I'm just like,
I've
I will
sometimes done
walk
that.
away, but I'm not apologizing.
It's it's funny, I mean, partners are different from friends when it comes to that area. I'm much more stubborn, I find, with my friends than I am with my partner. But although that's I say that, I'm sure Jim, God bless Rob if he was here, would probably say differently. That's sometimes what I think. I could be wrong.
Right.
I'm probably wrong. I know that there's absolute stubborn moments, but I just really hate disagreements. I know they're part of it. I just hate it,
Yeah.
but it happens.
Of
It's all
course I
part of the
do.
learning process. That's what you do. It's part of it. But I
It's part
still,
of relationships.
yeah, but it's rooted in other stuff. So I guess
Yeah.
probably that's why, more than
Mhm.
anything else, why I don't really like it. But you want it over with, and you want to get on to the good stuff as fast as possible. As I reveal my psychological profile to
Yeah.
everybody out
Well,
there.
usually for me, in the middle of an argument, if we're arguing about something, I forget what the argument started out to be.
Really?
I don't remember what it is. I'm just
I do.
like, so that's why I usually walk away because 'cause I'm, like, going, "I
I
don't even
forgot.
know what we're arguing about." Clearly, it's not that important. I don't know. I'm just like,
Does Jim says sorry when he if something's up. Does
"Oh, really?"
David
No.
if he's upset and he's in the wrong, he will say I'm sorry. David
David
doesn't?
never says, "I'm sorry." He just I don't know if it's the Sicilian in him or if it was, obviously, he was raised differently than I was.
Right.
He's the youngest. He's never apologized. Even the kids will say it. But because of that, because of him never apologizing to me, I don't apologize to him. I apologize to the kids. I don't with him. We just kind of
Don't say
don't.
anything.
We just move on. I don't know how healthy that is.
Oh my god! Again, this is one of those things, people. If we see each other when when we're talking, and sometimes I swear there's more said in the face than there is in the words with Miss Connie,
Mhm.
which is what I love.
Yeah. Too
That
bad
is
we
why
couldn't
our
have
friendship.
video because
I know. Which is, I'm thankful, to be perfectly honest. Sometimes I'm glad in school that we didn't face, we sat beside each other rather
yeah.
than face, because we would be bad. We would be bad. I'm glad we didn't work together either, Connie. That would have been,
I know. I know,
oh,
especially if I was working with you with that lady that you were talking about in the last
oh,
podcast, I'd been, like, giving you, like, the
oh, no, we would have been fired, both of us. There's no way we would have lasted because we weren't having it. See, that's the thing. Like, I look at that and I'm not sorry for the behavior. I know I should be. I should
Mhm.
be very sorry for being
But if you're
for
being mistreated, why are you apologizing for what?
because I could have rose above it and I could have been
I
better about
guess.
dealing with that. I know. Well, she rolled her eyes, which I love. But it's true. I could have been I could have rose above it. And isn't that what
Yeah,
they always teach you? Rise above that and don't be petty. And
yeah.
the thing is that we're human beings and sometimes we're petty and sometimes we're not sorry for the things that I'm sure must have hurt her feelings. I know she's hurt mine. She didn't apologize, so F her. I like got the same
Yeah,
token. But the bigger me should say, "Well, I'm sorry that it even came to that." And
yeah.
I am sorry that it came to that. But that's her fault.
I know. Well, that's that whole Michelle Obama thing, they go low, we go high.
Oh, that
Oh,
was a stupid
fuck
thing to
that.
say.
They go
I
low,
hated that.
I am going to go right down there with you and, like,
Oh,
kick your ass.
oh, me too. No, I won't
So,
have it.
I mean, I like to hold myself in high regard, but at the same time, if you're gonna start digging in and being an asshole, I'm not gonna just take it and be, like, the bigger person. Forget
Well,
it.
it's crazy. I mean, I listen to us, and like I look at the difference between me again. Like people will be like, "Oh, well, you're not like that." But that's in me when you know me, and
Yeah.
when you're friends, or if I'm in a relationship with you. Yes, I'm going to be a different because I'm calmer and I'm easier. And yes, some in some respects, are all
And
we'll
you're
fight
also
or
not
whatever.
they're not
But
giving
if
you a reason to be.
but with strangers and if they are giving me trouble, I won't have it.
No.
I have had experiences, let me tell you about some of the experiences. I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but if my friend David was listening, he would attest to my how and even Brian. There's a couple of people who have been around me that would attest to me not putting up with a lot of garbage that's been said to my face,
Mhm.
or yeah, that's been said, and I won't apologize for that behavior because
Yeah,
sometimes it's necessary to be
right.
the person that's stronger and not be sorry for the behavior that is a result of having to deal with bullshit. But um, I like this topic because apologies can encompass so many different things. I think what I really wanted to know, Connie, is again, like, if have you ever been in a position where you had to say it, but you really didn't mean it? Um, but you knew that if you said it, it would put an end to whatever, blah blah blah. This that's a family. This doesn't involve. It's just any
No,
situation. That even at work, you've never had any instances where
no.
you've had to be like to customers or anybody where it's just been like, I'll just say it just for the greater good.
Yeah,
But
no.
never.
Not even to customer I've never had to.
What
Never
about
been in that.
teachers or anything or
No,
school or nothing? Okay,
no. Have you?
yeah. So there's been moments where it's like if I'll just it's better just to dial it down a little bit. Maybe it's best just to
Yeah, no, I've never had to.
apologize
Yeah. Now, I know Canadians are known for apologizing, for saying, "I'm
completely. I'm
sorry."
sorry.
Do you think it's too much?
Yes.
That we apologize too much?
Yeah, because it's built in. It's not. It's doesn't necessarily mean you are. It's just something that you say. It's like when someone sneezes, you know, God bless you or something. You say that.
Yeah,
But it's like a if you bump into someone, it doesn't hurt to say I'm sorry. I guess
yeah,
that part is built into us.
yeah,
But we do say sorry. Oh well. maybe our I don't know about the youngers. Do they say a lot of "I'm sorry" a lot?
I don't know.
I
I don't know. I would hope that if they bump into somebody that they're apologizing because it's just polite society, right?
I would ask
Um,
Evelyn and Abby because they're the youngest, and they're a good gauge on the younger generation about the word sorry
mhm.
and what it means to them. And I actually would love to hear their perspective because it's very different from us.
Yeah.
It was, you said at one point it wasn't our parents so much, but it was like there's just societal expectation of
Yes.
apologies and being
Being
really
nice.
respectful and nice. And that
Yes.
means being sorry and
Yeah.
meaning it.
Well, so I remember saying this to my sister, that I do not teach my kids to be nice.
Right. Right.
Um,
Yeah.
Nice is dangerous. Being nice puts you in dangerous situations sometimes, as a girl especially.
Yeah.
Be polite, but you don't need to be nice.
I think we talked about we talked about this before,
Yeah,
where I think I mentioned the movie Room where the girl said, "If it
right.
wasn't me being nice, I would never have ended up in the car with that stranger because he's dog or whatever it was, right? I wouldn't have offered to help to be
Yeah,
nice."
yeah.
And that
No.
stuck. That was like,
Yes.
"Whoa."
Yeah. You do not need to be nice. Somebody comes up to you and says something to you, you do not need to be nice to them. You can be polite, respectful to yourself, but you
Mhm.
do not need to be nice.
I
And I think that for Canadians, the apology or the "I'm sorry" is about being nice. And I think that with all the rhetoric of us being the 51st state crap, I think we're learning that we can be polite,
Mhm.
but we don't need to be nice.
It's definitely becoming clear.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say that. I think that's a good description of Canadians. We're polite. I don't necessarily think we're nice. I never thought that. I think Americans are
I
nice.
think that's
I think
the
Americans are. They're nice. That because I think their personality lends itself to be they're more open about their lives and you say hello and they're telling you this uncle whomever it is about their story of some farm and blah blah, blah. Like you just meet them. Canadians
Mhm,
are more reticent about behavior. Polite, but not nice. I guess
mhm.
I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah,
I think a great deal of Canadians are like that.
yeah.
Maybe. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
But
I think the misunderstanding is that people think that we are nice
yeah.
and that they can take advantage of us
Yeah.
because we're just the nice people
The
up
nice
north.
neighbors. Yeah.
Yeah,
It
but we're
couldn't
not.
be we're absolutely not.
Yeah,
I think, I've read when immigrants come here and they say how difficult it is to meet people. That could be anywhere, but they think particularly Canadians are distant and polite, but distant.
mhm.
And it's very difficult to engage until you've been here for a while and then you kind of
Yeah,
break the thaw and you get to know people. And I agree with that. So therefore, with apologies, it might mean a little bit more here simply because there's a polite recognition that you did something. Like, oh, I found a great example. There was an article written about this, and they had said it's expected if you're driving and you have to let someone in,
mm,
the expectation is you are to wave. If you don't, we take that as a sign of who the F are you?
yeah.
And we really, but polite Canadian society is you nod, wave, thank you,
Thank you.
off you go. I still do it. I
Yeah,
do
so
it.
do I.
I make sure, even with my
Yeah,
horrible arthritic
you go
hands, I'm like,
I
ah!
always make because the windows are tinted now, right? So,
Right?
you wave a little bigger to make sure that the
Yeah.
person knows you're waving.
I even nudged Jim. I said, make sure you wave or whatever it is. Because, oh, yeah, yeah. And I think that's what helps us, distinguishes us, I think, in certain respects. So when you do say sorry here and people say sorry, it's not nice. It's just, I'm acknowledging I did something. It's your job now to acknowledge that I said it, and
Yeah.
off we go.
Mhm.
But our discussion is so it's again like that word, the apology, sorry. It's just there's so many nuances to it. and how you take it and how it's delivered and how it's said. I love it. It's fascinating. It's a fascinating word.
Right.
Sorry.
I think sometimes apologies are demanded by the public apologies or the celebrities or the public demands an apology from a celebrity when they've
Right.
done something wrong
Right. Or a politician.
or a politician.
Yeah.
Yeah, and whenever I hear those apologies, I hear it with an eye roll, right? Because I'm like, that person's not really apologizing because they have to. It's been demanded of them. So now
Yeah.
it's no longer a real apology. If you had to demand an apology for it, whatever it is that they did, and they're
Yeah.
now, you know, mea culpa up there at the podium,
Yeah.
that's not real. That's just them doing their job in order to save face.
It's like the longer you go on about what you're sorry about, the less I'm inclined to believe that you're sorry about it.
Right.
You don't need to go. Just I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But at least I will say though, maybe from a PR perspective, that they're doing it because maybe they do feel bad or it's somewhat demanded. Fine.
Yeah.
But for that orange centipede down there who never apologizes for
I
anything
was
that he
just gonna say,
does,
has he ever apologized for
not
anything? I don't
once,
think so.
not once,
Yeah.
and the
Even
despicable
even when he's
amount.
been caught doing something wrong, I don't think he's ever.
I still, and it has been demanded. Society has demanded that you take responsibility for being a complete shit,
Mhm.
but there's none forthcoming, and there never will
No,
be. And
I
that
don't
sort
think
of
so
person,
either.
I mean, I've never seen anybody like that in my lifetime, and I was hoping that we could avoid that sort of asshole that is still on like the world stage. And sadly, people will learn from that.
Oh,
So
yeah.
apologies, I worry now, apologies from people forthcoming will be either not coming at all, and
Yeah.
you're starting to see it,
Yeah.
or it's going to come from a place where they don't mean it, but they know they have to do it, so it's performative.
Yeah.
And I do worry a little bit more about our society in that regard and where we're heading.
Mhm.
Um, But I think as long as you and I and our friends and family have our own little corner and what we say to each other and we mean it,
Yeah.
I'll just take that.
Yeah.
And as long as we continue to grow, I think that's all we can really do. And that's what I think. Is that
That is
what
what we think.
that is what we think. Yeah. And on that note, we clearly enjoy hearing from you. And we definitely look forward to your own thoughts and opinions on this type of subject because it's not typical that Connie and I delve into these a little bit more into the heavier stuff, but
Yeah, more
we really do like,
serious.
yeah. But we like to do it every once in a while just so we can have a little bit of a breather from out there and
From the
crazy
laughing.
from laughing. Although we did laugh at this one too,
Yes, we
we can't
did.
help it. But yeah, but if you have anything to add or any opinions about our show or just anything that you want to say to us, please write into us at um, the Connie and Steve at gmail.com. Or I always pass it over to Connie.
Or you can leave a comment at the bottom of this podcast, wherever it is that you're listening to us, whether it be Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Apple Music, or wherever you get your podcast from.
Yeah.
If you'd like to tell us how hard it's been for you to say, I'm sorry, we'd love to hear your stories.
Yes,
Also, give us a follow, share the podcast, do all the things because we love hearing from you and we
we
love
really do.
knowing
And we
that we have
appreciate the support.
people wanting to share our podcast as well.
That's right. That's right. And we have noticed that people are listening and we're hoping that we're doing a good job. And it matters. That matters. And we're sorry
Absolutely.
if we're not, damn it. Yeah, we are.
I'm
We
not
are. Well,
sorry.
no, we're not sorry. We'll make sure that we always
Sorry,
try to
not
put
sorry.
we just want to put the best product we can out there. So of course, please continue to listen to us and all the best to you and all the best to you, my dear friend. And we will talk very soon.
And to you, I love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.